Do you want to use Bootstrap models properly? In this video I will show you the easiest way on how to use those, so stay with me. Before we actually dive into the code, I want to show you the basics that you need to understand so that once we start writing the code it will be so simple for you. So Bootstrap models are those small pop-ups that will be on your page. So when you click some button or do some action, they will jump on your screen and you will be able to take some actions. So in order to create those, we first need to define that we want to have one model. Okay. Now each of those models have only three things. So you just need to define header, okay, then the body, and then the footer. So usually in the footer we put some buttons like close, okay. Here we usually put some title, okay, and then here this is where we put the body of your model. So before you actually start creating those, always remember we need to define model, we need to define title, body, and the footer, and that's it. So let's write the code. So now I'm here at my PHP store, and the first thing that we are going to do, of course, we will just create some basic layout. So let's say this will be Bootstrap models, okay, and then we need to include, of course, the Bootstrap libraries. So I will just go to get bootstrap.com. I will go to the download, and then we need to include the CSS, okay. After that we also will need to include the popper and Bootstrap Windows.js, okay. So I will just add those two at the bottom. And then of course we will need to include the jQuery. Now as you can see, they are offering us here the slim version, but usually when you do that later you will have some problems with missing functionality, so I always suggest just include the full version and you won't have those issues. So let me just quickly format those, okay. Yeah. Okay, so that's all we need to do, and now we just need to define the basic Bootstrap document. So I will say that we are going to have one class container. In that class we are going to have one row, okay, and in this row we need to have some columns. Now that's something that I have been explaining in my previous video tutorial, so if you haven't, make sure that you watch that one so that you understand the grid system in the Bootstrap. And then let's say I will just have one like this, okay. So this doesn't mean anything. If we refresh, there is nothing at the moment, it's just the layout. Okay, so now let's first define some model. So I will say, okay, we are going to have one model, and then I want to define what type of animation we will use to show it. So I will just say fade, okay, and then I usually declare some ID for this model. So if I have more than one, I can easily identify those, or if you have only one, for the button that will show the model you can just say .model, but it's good practice just to use the IDs. So let's say my model, okay. Now inside this one we need to define that we are going to use model dialog, okay. And then inside this model dialog, like I said, we need to have three things. It will be model header, model body, and the model footer. So let's say model header. I will just quickly duplicate, so I'll say body and footer. Okay, cool. So okay, and then in the header I will say here, let's say h1, let's say just title for now. Here I will say this is body, and then here we are going to have some button. So I can just say input class, and then I will just define some button, let's say button default, and I can say value to the close. Okay, and that's it. But now when we refresh this page, you can see that still there isn't anything on the screen, and the reason for that is that by default our modules are not visible, and we usually show those by clicking on some button or by doing it from the code, usually from the jQuery. So let's say down here I will just declare one button. So let's say age, ref, let's say nothing for now. So I'll say data toggle will be okay model, and then data target is what model do we want to target. So like I said, we usually define it, so I'll say my model, and that's it. So let's say open model, and now let's see what will happen. So now there is button open model. When we click, so something is missing. Let's see, we have model dialog. Oh yeah, we need to have model content. Okay, and in the model content we will just put here body and footer. Okay, so let's see now. It should be better. Yeah, now it is looking good. So now as you can see, I've said that I want h1 as my title, this is body, this is some button, but it doesn't do anything for now. And then this is small pop-up. If we want the bigger, all we need to do is to change the size of this. So if you remember, I said the last time that we are able to do it for different screen sizes. So if we change that, you can see now it is large. Okay, and now of course I can go and just change it, or if you don't define it, okay, if you leave it like this, it will be default size, which is this one. Okay, and now for this button, in order to close the pop-up, we need on our button, this one, to declare data dismiss. Okay, and we will just say model. So let's see now. Okay, open model. When we click, it will close. Okay, cool. And if you want, you can just change the classes and the button will be different. Okay, as you can see, it works properly. But now the question is, how can we open this module programmatically from our code, for example, whenever we want, and also how we can close it from the code without having like those buttons. So in order for us to open it, we will need to declare first, I will say here script. I usually say text JavaScript even if it's not necessarily, but that's how I love it. Okay, and now let's say that on the document ready, we'll declare some function, and then let's say for now I'll just set some timeout. Okay, some timeout. Let's say we will wait for 2 seconds, and after that we want, for whatever reason might be, let's say want to ask the person here like, what is your name? I mean, it doesn't matter. So I can say here form control, and that's it, like something simple. So how are we going to do this? All we need to do is to use the ID of the model. So I can say here my model dot show, and then here dot model, and then we need to just say show. or if you want to hide it, you will just say here hide. It's so simple. So let's try. Now after 2 seconds, the pop-up is here and it's asking us like, what is your name? Okay, and then if we want to close it, so let's say I will define again some timeout, like this is just an example, it's not functional, but let's say 3 seconds, and then here we just need to say my modal hide, and that's it. Okay, so let's refresh. After 2 seconds it will show, and after 3 seconds it should close. Okay, there you go. So simple, so easy, and yeah, pretty much that's it. I hope that you understand this. It's simple, it's easy, but it's very useful in your project. So guys, if you have any questions, please ask them in the comments below and I will make sure to answer all of them. And if you like this video, please like it and share it with your friends. Take care.